Sanctuary city policy is coming under fire. They inhibit local law enforcement's cooperation with federal immigration authorities. This means some violent criminals, illegal aliens are released from jail without being deported. The mayors of 4 cities that have such policies were the focus of a congressional hearing yesterday. Eric Adams of New York, Mike Johnson of Denver, Brandon Johnson of Chicago, and Michelle Wu of Boston all face intense scrutiny. Here to discuss is New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, who's been an outspoken critic of sanctuary policies. First of all, good morning, Congresswoman. Let me get your thoughts on this. What happens when federal immigration policies does not align with what local officials are doing in this context?
What happens is you see horrific crimes taking place. We saw this happen. The perfect example, sadly, was the murder of Laken Riley. Laken Riley was a victim of terrible policies at the federal, state, and city level that Democrats had ushered in. In her case, you had Joe Biden, open border policy, allowed her murderer to enter the country. Then you had New York City's sanctuary policy, which gave him a place to live under protection at taxpayer expense. And then you had the state policy of bail reform that released him back onto the streets when he was arrested for another crime. And so that sanctuary policy that New York City had protected him so he could go to Georgia instead of being detained by ICE and deported. And he killed this poor young woman, Laken Riley. And so that, I think, is one of the gravest examples, but sadly, it's not the only one. And in New York City, we've had thousands of crimes committed by people who are in the country illegal that were literally let in by the Biden administration because they were checked at the border and then they were released into the interior. And then when they were arrested, they were released back onto the streets and they went back to the luxury hotel room that we, the taxpayers, were paying for oftentimes. And so we are fighting very hard to get some common sense, to get some cooperation. Mayor Adams is slowly changing his tune. But sadly, there were all these crimes that could have been prevented had Eric Adams just complied with detainer requests and had issued that executive order to allow for ICE to operate out of Rikers Island earlier.
So I was tuning into the hearing yesterday, and I heard Mayor Adams say that crime has actually gone down despite the increase in migrants. Can I get your response to that?
Well, it depends on what category of crime you're talking about. Some categories of crime may be down, but still there are many categories of crime that continue to increase in the city of New York. And the issue is, I wouldn't be surprised that if crime has gone down in just the last month because of the work that President Trump has done. He made New York City one of the first cities in which Tom Homan was tasked to go and detain dangerous criminals. We had gang members who were wreaking havoc on our streets. You had drug traffickers. You even had a murderer from the Dominican Republic walking around. These people have been arrested, detained, and they're being deported. And it is because of President Trump. So right away, you're seeing a very quick success because of the policies of President Trump. And I don't really give Mayor Adams credit for that. I give the Trump administration credit for that because they're the ones who made it a priority to get these foreign criminals and gang members off the streets of our city.
You know, Congresswoman, like cities like Denver and New York are spending millions of taxpayer dollars on services for illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, at the same time, legal residents struggling with housing, healthcare, and other costs. Give us your thoughts on that.
It's such a disrespect to the taxpayers of New York and America that their money, their hard-earned money that they work so hard for and pay taxes on April 15th are being used in this manner to house people who are coming into the country illegally, but are also committing crimes on top of it. And that's the chaos of it. And like I said, if someone is arrested, why are they not being detained and deported? Why are they being released to go back to the luxury hotel room that we, the people, are paying for? And it is a slap in the face because my constituents are suffering with high property taxes, high rent, high cost of living. The governor wants to keep adding tolls just for us to enter another borough in the city in which we live. And they seem to have very little regard for middle class, working class people who are struggling to get by, and they use their money in this manner, which is a real slap in the face. Our hospitals have been overburdened by people who are here illegally, and it's uncompensated care that is driving up the cost of healthcare. Our schools, we're seeing classes overcrowded. We're seeing a significant amount of money being used, and it's just putting such a burden on the taxpayers that it's really stressing out all these types of systems that citizens rely on for education, for healthcare, for transportation, you name it. So I think this is why you saw the reaction you did in the election, quite frankly. People are fed up. People are tired. They don't want their money spent this way. It's inappropriate. And they want Republican policies that not only keep our country safe and keep our nation secure, but that actually protect the taxpayer. And that's what we're focused on, trying to find those savings and letting people keep more of their hard-earned tax dollars in their own pockets.
Now, the United States, of course, wants immigrants, right? But they want them to come in legally. What message do sanctuary city policies, what are they sending to those thinking of coming to the U.S. illegally? And of course, to migrants seeking lawful entry, what message is it sending to them?
Well, look, as a daughter of immigrants, I'm very sensitive to those who want to come to our country and achieve the American dream, and we want to provide that opportunity. What has happened here, and it was terrible that the Biden administration actually pushed the people who came legally and applied legally to the end of the line. What we saw were people who were crossing our border, they were being heard first in court. And I had many constituents, because I have a very diverse district with many immigrants, who their relatives were being told that they're now being delayed years because they've been pushed to the end of the line because they had this last in, first out system that incentivized people to come over our border the wrong way. And so I think it sends a very bad message, and we have to make sure that we are treating those who follow our rules, who follow our laws, who are here, hardworking, not committing crimes, protect them and help them become citizens quicker because they've done the right thing. And unfortunately, it's the complete opposite what Joe Biden had done. And so I look forward to working with this administration. We've been very fortunate to help roughly 200 people become U.S. citizens in my office. We're very proud of that, and we need to continue to reward those who came legally and did the right thing and want to work hard and achieve the American dream just like my parents did.
All right, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.